like to talk a little bit about Kibana and Solr and logging and analyzing. Yeah. Does anybody of you know Kibana? Who works with it? One. So Kibana is totally unknown. Okay. Then, what's the agenda for my presentation? It's not a technical presentation, by the way. If you have technical question, feel free to ask it. Yeah, just a small introduction on the first step of on me and my company I'm working on. Then I'm talking about Kibana, the motivation. What is Kibana? I'll show you some demonstration. I'd like to talk a little bit about the project we've initialized and how it's going on. The title of the presentation is the state of Kibana is here. Unfortunately, we are not finished yet, so we are nearly here. So, but we will see what happened and what's the next steps. Okay, as I said, my name is Markus Klose. I'm working on SHI as a Solr consultant or search consultant. I do all the stuff that typical consulting are doing. I'm traveling through Germany, Switzerland, and Austria to make all the customers happy and help them with their search projects. I'm a certified Solr trainer, and at the time there was a certificate for developer. I made it as well. I started working at SHI in 2008, so 5 years ago, and I directly started with a search project of one of our big customer that's using Fast. Some years later on, I moved from Fast towards Lucene and then, of course, to Solr. And now I do nearly every search engine that you can imagine, or most of them, not every. Okay, SHI. SHI is a company that was founded about 20 years ago. The origin was for media publishing houses that delivered books and all that stuff. They wanted to have, this time it was a disc, today it's a DVD or a USB stick. They wanted to write all their documents on a medium, on a digital medium, to make it searchable and all this stuff. So this is where the company comes from. We created our own retrieval software with preparation of data. Usually it was XML and HTML and all that stuff, preparation, linking, and searching, the typical stuff that a search engine does. The product still existing, but we are not developing it anymore because there are a lot of other search servers out there, Solr, Elasticsearch, whatever, which are doing the stuff much better, and the community, of course, is much broader than our developers. We have a big partnership, or we have some partners. We are a partner of LucidWorks for training and all this stuff. We are a partner since this year of Elasticsearch as well for consulting and partner and training and all that stuff. At the moment we are about 25 people. Most of them are developers, Java developers mainly, and we are having a lot of projects about search portals for our customer. A big part of our customers is still the media publishing houses. Okay, but this should be enough just to give you a small, brief introduction what I am or who I am and what my company is or the company I'm working at. Okay, the motivation of the project we started, Kibana4Solr, we had two motivations. I think most of you that dealing with any search projects will have that situation that at the end of the project or in the meantime of the project, somebody asking, what are the most search terms? How long are my searches taking? What's the mean time that the search takes and all this stuff? Okay, most of the information we have, log files. We have the information how long one search takes. We have the information how many searches have 0 hits, have 10,000 hits and all that stuff. They are existing. I can make a search, I can open a Solr browser and search for all that stuff, or just go to the log files and grab it. But it's not good for a CTO or CEO that wants to have that information. And that was the motivation in this situation, because there's a tool out there called Kibana. Kibana is a web-based browser interface for displaying analytics and search and all that stuff. We'll show you in a few minutes, slides later. And the motivation was Solr doesn't have it so far. So there is no out-of-the-box view, no out-of-the-box whatever, which you can just drag and click and combine all that stuff to make a good visualization of all these questions that there are from the CTO side, for example, or CTO side. So this was the first motivation. The second motivation is, of course, if I have a search portal done and I have my logs, I can do my own stuff. I can crawl my logs, I can parse my logs and all this stuff. But we wanted to use existing tools out there, combine them, take all the power of the existing stuff, combine it, and create a good logging and analysis infrastructure. So we decided to take Kibana because we had good experience with Kibana on our Elasticsearch projects. Okay, so the idea was, we had half a year ago, why not to combine Kibana as a front end with Solr as a data storage? So, okay, any questions so far? What is Kibana? If you Google for Kibana or search for Kibana, you will find such kind of description. Kibana is an open source Apache license browser-based analytics search interface based on Logstash and so on and so on. What you should keep in mind is it's just a browser interface to visualize logs that are mainly time-based. It's not necessary to need to have a time-based data because there are tabs and functions and modules that don't need any time information, but there are other ones. If you Google for Kibana, you will always find these words like Logstash and Elasticsearch. This is a bundle. If you have that, you can really make really great analyzing of your log files, of any log file. Logstash, a tool, you just define how your log file is looking like, put it into a Logstash, index it into Elasticsearch index, and then we can have with Kibana and all that stuff and a view on it. So it's seamless integration with any kind of integrator, indexer like Logstash, Apache Flume, and all that stuff. And our idea was to cut this one, or to provide an alternative data storage for that. That was the idea behind Kibana4Solr. Yeah. What is Kibana? Kibana, what can you do with Kibana? You can create your custom dashboards by searching, which means this is a typical dashboard. You might have seen it on the Symantec desk at the lobby, the right screen. This is a typical dashboard of Kibana. You have graphs, you have maps, you have search, where your logs are analyzed. Not necessarily needs to be logging. It can have any data. It can be a product index. It can be everything. Not necessarily needs to be a log file. It's quite easy. If you just download Kibana and start it, you will get a front end. You can add rows, you can add columns, you can add text, visualization, you can add these bars and all that stuff. But Kibana is really hard-coded to Elasticsearch. Since a couple of weeks, month, Kibana is part of Elasticsearch, the company. So I guess they will work much more harder together. Okay, this is just a small picture, maybe to get you a better idea what Kibana is. There it is. This one. There's a demo site for Kibana. This is a pure Kibana demonstrations. Oh, how can I make my demonstration visible? Okay. This is a typical Kibana dashboard. There are a lot of different panels and map and modules for different purposes. This is a typical histogram, which means time-based analytics of events, of data, whatever. You can have different search types, or you can search for different words, and the color here is represented in all these stuff. So you can create your own dashboard for different purposes and all that stuff just by searching. It has as well, where's my, yeah, here. It has a hit list as well, so everything you are doing here, for example, I just removed this search, has an effect on the design. Just click and drag and drop and all that stuff. It's very easy for non-technical guys to create such a dashboard for analytics. Just to give you a small idea. Well, there are nice features on Kibana as well. For example, you can save that dashboards to a file. You can load them, for example. Another one is something like this. This as well is a small dashboard. This is the same histogram, different style, different bars, different layout. Whatever you want, you can customize here. There's maps integrated, not for all countries. It's a module in the beta stadium, but they are doing a lot of stuff. You can have pie charts, for example, here, and all that stuff. And these features we wanted to use and make available for Solr. Okay. Any questions about Kibana so in general? Yeah.
Can you compare with this Splunk?
The question is, can I compare it with Splunk? No, I can't, because I have no experience with Splunk. I'm sorry. Yeah, but as far as I know, Splunk is as well an interface for graphical display of such stuff. Yeah. 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 I'm sorry. Okay, then let's go back to my presentation. Okay, this is Kibana. This was Kibana. Come on. I'm sorry. Okay. What is Kibana4Solr? Kibana4Solr is a project we've initialized. It's a module, or it's a standalone. Let's say it's a standalone web service that just takes all the requests from Kibana, which are Elasticsearch, which is a JSON object, transform it into a Solr query, execute it, and the way back as well. So this is it's a translator from Elasticsearch language to Solr language. Of course, there are a lot of problems you have to deal with. There are different kind of features you have to map and all that stuff. But in the end effect, we are just having a middle layer which combines Kibana and Solr. We will make it open source. It's not yet open source. So if you are finished with the complete project, you can get it on GitHub, for example. Download it, use it, and have fun with that. At the moment, it is, as I said, it's a small service, so you need to deploy it in any Surface container of your choice, Tomcat, Jetty, whatever. Configure it a little bit, and then run for it. But what is it not? It's not an indexing or crawling tool, so all this stuff needs to be done externally. Just need to configure which Solr you want to address, and then you can directly use Kibana with a Solr index. So it's not a complete monitoring tool, which means the complete state from this here. So this is not a complete bundle of tools to have a monitoring, analyzing tool. It's just the connection between the visualizing tool, Kibana, and the Solr index. How the data comes into the index depends on you. Okay. A little bit about the timeline, how the project started and how we went on. We had half a year ago. We had the idea of Kibana and thought it might be a good reason, or it might be a good project to present here. So you're the first audience that ever heard about that here. We made a proof of concept. Of course, we've tried to have different approaches. Our first approach, of course, was to enhance Kibana to talk Solr. Our second approach was to enhance Solr to understand Kibana. But the approach of the middle layer was in our mind, the best flexible way, because we have not need to take care about the updates of all the other systems, so it's just a translator. We started after the proof of concept with implementation. Our first module was a table, which is just the hit list you might have seen at the bottom, just to give the 10 documents back, just a typical hit list. On our implementation side, we just transferring Elasticsearch language to Solr language, and at in the September we had another project. A customer of us is going to move from fast ESP to Solr as well. So we came up with the idea. Hey, wait, why not making fast language to Solr language as well, so that you can move smoothly. First create a new index and use data structure and all this stuff. Keep his search portals as they are in the first step. Just use our tool. So in December we came up with the idea of SAMKit. SAMKit is just search engine migration kit. This is what we are doing right now. And Kibana is one solution of this search engine migration kit. This idea costed a lot of time, so that is the main reason why we're not finished yet, because we had to refactoring all that stuff, all the classes that really hardwired Solr Elasticsearch to Solr are refactored to make it open for all the other languages, or all the other search engines, and all the other modules and so on. We started with more of these panels. The faceting was one panel. The bars, I will show it to you in a minute. What's our next? Right now we are working on the histogram facets. Unfortunately, they're not finished today, but they should be finished. I think next week somewhere. We think that so that's why we are not here at the end of the road. We are somewhere in the middle of the road. We think that we will be finished with the main features, the stable features of Kibana at the end of the month, and with some other nice features which are beta in the Kibana environment. I think we will be finished at the end of the year, at the beginning of the next year. So it's still in progress, unfortunately. What means unfortunately? It's better than just Kibana4Solr, from my opinion. We will create a GitHub account for both. Once for the SAMKit, so the search engine migration kit will also be open source. Everybody who likes to join us can create your own connector. I will have a small slide in the next slides to give you more information. And of course, there will be a GitHub project on Kibana4Solr as well. So, any questions so far? Okay. What's the basic concept of Kibana4Solr? This is the typical way how it is at the moment. There's a Kibana web interface that talks to Elasticsearch. Elasticsearch searches and gives the answer as a JSON object back to Kibana. What we are doing is we are simulating Elasticsearch. We have a Solr instance running somewhere, and in front of the Solr instance there's our small server with the Kibana4Solr is running, and all the requests that are coming in are passed as all the information that are needed for the different panels and display modules are parsed, translated into Solr, and requests are made Solr and the way backward as well. So the result set, the facets, and all the stuff created as a JSON object back to Kibana. So in the end effect, it's like faking an Elasticsearch instance at the moment. Make sense? Okay. The bigger picture is what I've said is the search engine migration kit. The bigger picture is why not allowing to have multiple different inputs and multiple outputs as well. So they're not existing so far, but it's an idea. It's an idea what could happen. As I said, we have a customer that moves from fast to Solr. This will be our next project on this situation, because this way we already have with the Kibana4Solr. We just need to implement the search side of fast ESP, and then we have a new product. So we've refactored the complete Solr for Kibana project, and now we have a framework that allows you to connect just via Spring. I want to have as input this, I want to have as output this, configure it, run it, and so you have a special combination of your Kibana4Solr, maybe fast for Solr in this situation, for example. Yeah. As I said, there's a lot of possibilities that can be done. So we will see what the future brings if anybody is going to help us to implement some of this stuff. Okay, finished with the picture? Okay. Yeah, during the complete project we had some small pitfalls and challenges that we have to deal with, like in all the projects. The smallest one was just setting up Kibana and Solr and try to combine them to each other. For example, one of the smallest things was Kibana doesn't allow you that easy to configure the port you're searching on. It's always the standard port of Elasticsearch, 9200. Okay, this must be configured somewhere in the deep of Kibana. We've skipped that. We just at the moment saying let our service run on the port 9200 and everything is good on the situation. We had to configure Solr in some cases, depending on how you're searching with Kibana. There are no fields where you're searching in, so you have to define the default fields depending on the index structure you have and all that stuff. And of course, one of the minor pitfalls why we're not ready is the complete refactoring. The target moved. The major problems we have are the different syntax and the features, of course. For example, Elasticsearch can label facets, so you can have more than one facet of the same style. For example, query facets, different labels on it, and search it on one search query. That's just not possible at Solr at the moment. So, and the query facet type. So you have to work. You have to create a workaround in the code, make more searches and all that stuff. Put names on the facets and all, and so on and so on. But it's can be done. So it's not a big issue, but it has to be done, and you really have to be careful how to map all the features that are in Kibana, that are Elasticsearch feature, how to map them to Solr. Okay, what else? Some typical use cases that we can imagine for Kibana4Solr, which even also are valid for pure Kibana, is business aware monitoring. So we had some talks today about how users are moving in a shop environment, for example. If they what products they are searching, if they are putting something to the basket and don't buy it and buy it, whatever. So the complete user behavior can be tracked, and then of course that's the idea behind it. It can be displayed on a nice graphical view. So not only an XML output or an JSON output, a nice view for the management. Search tracking. The typical what I've mentioned at the beginning, how many search terms have 0 results, how many search terms or what search terms have more than 100,000 results, all this stuff. Typical use cases for business aware monitoring, which means where you can optimize your business by optimizing index, optimizing your web page and all that stuff. And you need that information because in an e-commerce environment, what is not found cannot be sold, or what is not on the first page and all that stuff. Performance monitoring as well. How fast are your searches? How fast are other systems in the complete environment? Not only the search server is a problem in your complete, or can be a problem. There are sometimes we have customers that have databases, SAP for example, to get the actual current price information, all that stuff. So you can monitor this and find out where are my bottlenecks on a performance, for example, network monitoring and all that stuff. And of course, display it as well. Yeah? That's the goal here. This is typical. The first two things are typical log files. Yeah? Anybody in the web front end of your shop or whatever have event that is logged. But of course, you can have data analysis of every data you have in your index. You can just say, there's my index, and try to analyze it, make sentiment analysis, extract, for example, knowledge from social data, so which means just index all the Twitter feeds and find out if anybody is complaining about your product, for example. This can be done, so it not necessarily needs to be on any log file, just a Solr index that is behind here. You can see or you can measure how your product is developing and all this stuff. So if it's bought more than one time in last month, if it's a top seller this month or whatever. So this is typical use cases of such a Kibana or Kibana4Solr, and real time is here a big issue. And of course now it's available, or it will be available, for a Solr index. Okay. Some prospects before I go to the demonstration. So what could happen to Kibana4Solr, for example? As I said, at the moment we are not, this is not a part of the project indexing. I heard rumors that that somebody is going to enable Logstash to create a Solr index, for example. So the combination of all that three products as well will make a really great analyzing tool, monitoring tool for a Solr index. Real-time logging, not only Logstash can do something like this. We have, for example, a small project. We've created log4j appender that directly takes a log event and push it to a Solr index. So this is another way to get real-time data, real-time events, to get it analyzed, for example. Other prospects of our search engine migration kit could be any search engine migration you can imagine. For example, fast to Solr, idle to Solr, and all that stuff. Of course, it's not only creating a new indexing, everything is fine, and just use that tool here. Of course, you have to think about problems. There are features in the Search Engine 1 that are not in Search Engine 2 and all this stuff. But for a smooth migration of a search engine replacement, this could be a really good start. Another thing is, for example, multi-channel monitoring. Just keep the idea, or have just for you the idea. You have other data storage, like an SAP, like a MySQL, like whatever. Just use the power of Kibana to get the data from there and display it as well. Yeah? So here I need a little bit of your imagination. This is what could happen, not at the moment. Any questions so far? Okay. Then I have a small demonstration. What is finished so far and what is still on progress. Where's my browser? Okay, this was the original Kibana. I killed that. We just grabbed for the demonstration a log file from the NASA. The NASA has some down-dribble log files about their web server logs. So what kinds of requests are there? What status is? What files are requested? And all this stuff. This is what we have just indexed. So if I'm querying this index here, you will see. We have some documents about with some fields like URL, timeline, protocol, status, how if the search or if the request was successful or not, and all this stuff. So with that information, I can create a Logstash dashboard, not Logstash, sorry, Kibana, a dashboard. No, sorry. Where's my mouse? Here. This is a Kibana running on my local system. If you start Kibana, just download it and start it, you will have such a dashboard. Even this here is a panel where you can put some text in it, some welcome message, whatever. I've prepared something. Come on. A small. As I said, you can save the configuration and load them. I've created, for example, regarding the status information, I've just created a small dashboard. Kibana has some bugs about the display. what you see here is unfortunately nothing so far. At the top, I've just defined 6 different search queries. I'm searching for status 304 and so on and so on. So you will see it in the documents. These are the stati or the status that are available in my current index. Unfortunately, not that solution is so good. This is a typical chart that is available right now on Solr side, which means I can define which of these search. So I need to scroll a little bit. Status 305. You'll see in a kind of pie chart, for example, how many amount of that is our status 200 and how many of the this status and all that stuff. It's quite simple to configure that. For example, you can configure not to be a donut, just to be a plain pie chart, like this. Then you can configure it quite easily. You can configure here which kind of queries he's using. Only selected, so I can just say, for example, I only want to have this 3 status in my bar or in my pie chart, and you see. Quite easy, just selecting, just clicking, and just dropping and creating your the modules, and you can create your custom dashboard. For example, what we can do is here just add a new one, just plus add one. For example, let's give together all the status with a 4 at the beginning. Unfortunately, we've indexed the status as an int, so I cannot use star, but I can have something like this. If I click on search, I need to edit this one. So queries, I want to have all in my sec. You'll see I have total together like this 2,492, for example. One more, for example, just easy. Let's just combine the other two status with the 3 at the beginning. So you can put any Solr language or any Solr whatever you want to type in Solr, you can put it here as search terms. So no problem with that. Okay, and now, for example, let's create a new tab. Add panel. If you click on Add panel, you have a lot of modules that are available. Column, for example, is just for creating columns, just for arrangements. Text is just create text. A lot of things are deprecated. For example, the dashboard is deprecated, so we are not going to replace it with a Solr example. A lot of other things like this one is in a beta stadium, so this is version 2 of our product. So we are just going to deal with the stable one, which is, for example, this hits. You can type any title if you want. Hits. You can define a span. The complete page has 12 slots, and you can say how big this panel should be. For example, 3. You can define a style. This hits panel has 4 different styles. It has a bar, pie, and list. I like to have a bar one. Add that panel. Close it. And what you see here is I have a new and a spelling mistake. I'm sorry. And I have just created a simple new part of the dashboard, whatever you want to imagine. For example, what makes more sense in this situation is, for example, just to say I only want to group or have in my bar only this 200 and 300s and 400. So like a general overview. Yeah? So these are the 200 ones. these are the 400 ones here and all this stuff. So just clicking and drop and all this stuff. What is not finished yet, as I said, is the histogram. This is the other one of the stable modules, should be finished at the end of the month. Finished as well is the table, which is the hit list. Just get all the documents that matches all the queries at the top with a detail page and all this stuff. So, any questions so far? Yeah.
Throughout this exercise, did you find areas where Elasticsearch was providing capability that Solr just couldn't do, or that Solr just made it?
Histograms, the histogram facet, yeah, which is if we go back to the original Kibana demonstration, demo.kibana, this one. It's a time-based facet, which so it's a little bit like a pivot facetting in Solr, which is the first level is a time-based. But here's better. You can, or what's better in Elasticsearch, you can define the gap of the time and all the stuff, and then based on the time you have different outputs. I think the other one with the American gun deaths is quite better for understanding how these are working. So this is a graph which means death per week. So the time is every week, and the output of the facet is for every week you will get how many men are killed, how many people are killed or died, and all this stuff. So this is what Solr is not having at the moment. So we need to work around it. Yeah, but it will work.
Yeah, getting counts for each segment across the same.
Yeah.
So it's like pivot faceting.
It's a little bit like pivot faceting, right? But the first level is a time based, so you can define the gap. I can go here and configure not a week. I want to have a year, a day, minute, second, whatever. So it's a little bit, better, whatever. Yeah. And I think this one is one of the most valuable, the time based module. Most of the valuable modules here in the Kibana. Okay. Then that should be the end. I can just say we will, as I mentioned, we will bring that to GitHub. We will have announcement on our website. So if you're interested in, just come to me or just follow us on these resources, and you will get a very nice monitoring tool. For more information about Kibana, just go there as well. In the GitHub you can find some good information. Elasticsearch you can find some information. Yeah, that's it. Any questions? Thank you very much for your attention.